Hey fellow gamers, Chatty Sisa here. It's been over 7 years since the release of Mass Effect Andromeda in 2017, which was a new chapter in the Mass Effect series after the original trilogy. The game took us to the Andromeda galaxy with fresh characters, new alien species and, well, mixed results. It promised exploration, discovery and a thrilling combat, but did it deliver? Let's dive into it in this review, and fair warning, there will be minor spoilers. Mass Effect Andromeda begins with the Andromeda Initiative, a mission to find new homes for the species of the Milky Way galaxy. Set between the events of Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3, the initiative launches arcs carrying various species, including humans, Asari, Turians and Salarians, on a 600-year journey to the Andromeda galaxy. You assume the role of either Scott or Sarah Ryder, who awaken from cryosleep to find that the new galaxy is fraught with unexpected challenges. The primary objective is to locate and colonize the so-called Golden Worlds, planets deemed habitable based on long-range scans. However, upon arrival, these planets are found to be inhospitable, largely due to a mysterious phenomenon known as the Scourge, a dark energy cloud wreaking havoc across the Helios cluster. Additionally, the human arc, Hyperion, loses contact with the Nexus, the central hub of the initiative, which is strongly resembling the Citadel, leading to further complications. As Ryder, you inherit the role of Pathfinder after the tragic death of your father, Alec Ryder, the original human Pathfinder. Your journey involves exploring uncharted worlds, establishing colonies, and forging alliances with new species such as the Angara, while contending with hostile forces like the Cat, led by the menacing Archon. Central to the narrative is the discovery of remnant technology, advanced constructs left behind by a mysterious precursor race known as the Jardan. This technology holds the key to terraforming planets and counteracting the effects of the Scourge, making it vital for the survival of the initiative. The overarching narrative is about forging alliances, adapting to a new frontier, and confronting the Archon, the fanatical Cat leader determined to control this galaxy cluster. In comparison with the original trilogy, this game is more focused on exploration and has therefore a slower pacing than, for example, Mass Effect 2 or Mass Effect 3. But I didn't perceive this as a negative, considering that the exploration was meant to be the main objective of this game. Warning, there are some big spoilers ahead now. As for the game's finale, to say it's uncreative is putting it nicely. The Cat abducted the Hyperion from right under the Nexus's nose, without attacking the Nexus itself, which made me question the logic here. Instead of an epic showdown, you get a mob of enemies thrown at you in a claustrophobic space. Fighting the Archon should have been the climax, but instead you just watch him die. This was definitely a missed opportunity. The story does hint at fascinating concepts like the origins of the Remnant, but doesn't fully explore them. For example, the stranded Remnant ship on Eladen felt like a setup for something grand, yet it fizzles out. The Angara's inherited memories create an intriguing contrast to their lack of knowledge about their pre-Scourge history. These gaps in their collective understanding raise countless questions, many of which were clearly set up for sequels that unfortunately never came to fruition. Still, I give credit where it's due. The game's lore and environments do intrigue, and Ryder's journey of discovery and personal growth has its moments. As previously mentioned, you play as the main protagonist, which can be a male or female Ryder. In my playthrough, I chose Sarah Ryder. She starts a journey as an inexperienced explorer, thrust into the pivotal role of Pathfinder after her father's unexpected death. Her journey is one of growth and discovery, balancing the weight of leadership with moments of humor and vulnerability. While her personality depends largely on player choices, Sarah is characterized by her determination and adaptability in the face of Andromeda's many challenges. For a more light-hearted take, don't miss the separate character roast video which I've made, where I gave her a full sarcastic spotlight. The companions are a Mass Effect staple, and Andromeda introduces a mix of personalities who accompany Ryder on his or her journey. While each companion brings distinct backgrounds and personalities, the depth of their development varies. Some relationships feel fully fleshed out, offering meaningful interactions and growth, while others may come across as underdeveloped, leaving players wanting more engagement and complexity. Observing the differences between these companions also leads you to notice, maybe for the first time, the differences in the writing. PB is an eccentric and spontaneous Asari with an insatiable curiosity for remnant technology. She often operates independently, driven by her personal quest for knowledge. Her loyalty mission reveals layers to her character, showcasing her vulnerability and depth beyond the carefree facade. In terms of skills, PB's main focus is logically on the biotic ones, with one additional tech skill called Invasion. Drak is a seasoned Krogan warrior who brings a wealth of experience and a gruff sense of humor to the team. Despite his rough exterior, he exhibits a deep sense of loyalty and a protective nature, especially towards his granddaughter Cash. His insights into Krogan culture and the challenges they face add richness to the narrative. Drak's skills are almost all combat skills, or what would have been the soldier skills in the original trilogy, with one tech skill that is Incinerate. He also has quite a funny story to tell related to this specific tech skill.
You mentioned that people generally don't like being set on fire.
I was hoping
That
you'd
laugh.
ask. So, about 400 years ago, give or take a decade, me and my outfit were pinned down during a skirmish with another merc group. So I pull off my usual stunts, charge ahead and breach their barricade. Pop my flamethrower and get ready to let go. Only to see them all screaming and running away. Turns out, I crashed through a shipment of Turian brandy on my way in. Never even noticed I was on fire. But they sure did. Never seen a pack of mercs panic that badly before.
Cora is serving as Ryder's second-in-command, yet she has a background with the Asari commando units, which influences her disciplined and strategic approach. Her internal struggle with Ryder's unexpected appointment as Pathfinder provides a narrative tension as she grapples with her expectations and sense of duty. Cora has a mix of biotic and combat skills, with one additional tech skill that gives her a shield boost, which on the higher levels can also be used to boost Ryder shields, and with the bad shields Ryder has on her own, I found this ability quite useful whenever Cora joined Ryder on a mission. Liam is an idealistic human security specialist. He is driven by a desire to create a safe and stable home in Andromeda. His laid-back demeanor contrasts with moments of impulsiveness, leading to situations that test the team's cohesion. His loyalty mission offers a blend of humor and action, reflecting his multifaceted personality. Liam possesses a mix of combat and tech skills, which will complement your rider if you choose to create a biotic on your playthrough. As a resourceful Turian smuggler, Vetra is adept at navigating the challenges of the new galaxy. Her protective instincts towards her younger sister, Sid, highlight her familiar loyalty and add depth to her character. Vetra's pragmatic approach often provides practical solutions to complex problems. Just like Liam, Vetra has also a mix of combat and tech skills, and I'll be honest, I'd have expected her to be more tech-skilled rather than focused on combat. The member of the Angaran resistance, Jal, offers a unique perspective as a native of the Andromeda galaxy. His deep sense of empathy and commitment to his people provide cultural insights and emotional depth to the team's interactions. Jal's journey of trust and integration into the crew is a highlight of the character dynamics. I've also enjoyed his witty remarks on the missions we did together. His skills are just like Drax, focused mainly on combat with an additional tech skill. In his case, it's energy drain. Overall, I was a bit disappointed by the lack of strong biotics between the companions. PB is truly the only almost complete biotic companion, which gives me the impression that the game developers wanted to push you to choose a more biotic skilled rider and have the other companions then complement this set of skills. There are other interesting and memorable characters in the game as well, which definitely deserve a mention. Sylvie Anwar. The Tempest science officer and enthusiastic lover of all things related to discovery and exploration, Sylvie's cheerful demeanor and Scottish accent add charm to the team. Her fascination with the mysteries of Andromeda, combined with her spiritual beliefs, offers a refreshing perspective on the intersection of science and faith. I honestly felt sorry for drinking some of her precious tea, seeing how much she loved it. Callow Jaff and Gil Brody. Callow, the ship's meticulous Salarian pilot, and Gil, the laid-back and practical engineer, frequently butt heads over the maintenance of the Tempest. Their conflicts often stem from Callow's reverence for the ship's original design and Gil's willingness to make modifications. These arguments, while humorous, also highlight their mutual dedication to the mission. I personally was more understanding of Callow's views than Gil's, simply because of Gil's recklessness when making important changes to the ship without consulting them with anyone first, which oftentimes gave me the impression that he's being very disrespectful both towards his fellow shipmates as well as Ryder herself. Lexi Tupero. The team's Asari doctor, Lexi is the voice of reason and a grounding presence aboard the Tempest. Voiced by Natalie Dormer, her sharp wit and professional demeanor often mask a compassionate core. Lexi's observations on the crew's physical and mental health provide insight into their struggles and growth. Reyes Vidal. A charming and morally ambiguous smuggler who operates in Kadara port. Reyes' flirtatious nature and knack for intrigue make him an interesting ally or love interest for Ryder. His role as the enigmatic charlatan, leader of the collective, adds layers to his character, blurring the lines between hero and anti-hero. And even though his secrecy is understandable, I had a problem with it when romancing him, and I saw it as a break of trust when he didn't tell Ryder who he really is before a very important mission in the game. In terms of romances, you have plenty of options for either gender, including same-sex and interspecies, and when you've gone out of your way to talk to them and run errands for them. This is a BioWare game in the end. It's not just the 6 companions whom you can romance, but also the additional crew of the Tempest, or even the previously mentioned smuggler Reyes Vidal on Kadara. First we have the Archon. As the primary antagonist, the Archon leads the Cat forces in the Helios cluster. His obsession with the remnant technology drives his actions, seeking to harness its powers for domination. The Archon's interactions with Ryder are marked by a blend of intimidation and a twisted sense of curiosity, making him a formidable foe. The species he's leading are the Cat. As a militaristic and expansionist species, the Cat pose a significant threat to the Initiative's efforts. Their practice of exaltation, a process of transforming other species into Cat, underscores their invasive nature. Encounters with the Cat reveal their hierarchical society and relentless pursuit of genetic diversity through assimilation. And last but not least, Ryder has to deal with the Scourge. It's a mysterious and destructive dark energy phenomenon that wreaks havoc on navigation, devastates planetary ecosystems, and presents a constant danger to anyone navigating the Helios cluster. Its origins remain elusive, though hints in the game suggest it could have been a weapon unleashed over Meridian, the central creation of the Jardan. Theories range from an act of sabotage during internal Jardan conflicts to an attack by an external force or even a catastrophic experiment gone wrong. Considering the Jardan's extraordinary technological prowess, capable of creating entire species and terraforming planets, such a disaster isn't beyond belief. The Scourge leaves a permanent mark on the Helios cluster, serving as an intriguing but yet unresolved backdrop of the story. Just a little self-promo on this spot. If you're interested in the entire playthrough of this game, it's available here on my channel, and I'll be linking the first part at the end of this vid for you too. And if you like this review and my channel, please hit that subscribe button below and also the bell icon, and you will be notified whenever I upload a new vid. Thank you very much already in advance. Let's talk about some of the positives and negatives here. The facial animations, they were like a rock in your shoes during a long hike, consistently pulling you out of what should have been emotionally impactful moments. The famous "my face is tired" moment is still probably the most prominent example of these lifeless facial expressions. The dialogues, while occasionally witty, often fell flat with quips that felt out of place or unnecessary. I get that both Ryder as well as some of the companions are meant to be very young adults, but still adults nevertheless, and I just didn't have the feeling when talking to some that there is the necessary seriousness behind their words considering the situations we were in. The combat is fast-paced, but sacrifices strategy. With only 3 active skills at a time and no companion control, combat becomes less about tactics and more about simply shooting your way through waves of enemies. While biotic and tech combos still exist, their implementation feels watered down. The fact that you have no influence over your companion's abilities in combat is another big minus point for me. Just like them carrying only one weapon, which you cannot change as well. I think this was the biggest downgrade from the original trilogy in terms of combat for me personally. The exploration in the Nomad was amusing for all the wrong reasons. I was a terrible driver, and the physics often turned simple navigation into unintentional slapstick comedy. Then there are the fiends, massive, tanky enemies that I preferred running from rather than engaging, but that's just my own personal struggles, and I'm quite sure many players have enjoyed these parts of the gameplay. Research and development of gear felt unnecessarily bloated. Why does an SMG shoot only 3 rounds, for example? If you wanted to turn it into a true SMG, you had to research and develop an additional weapon mod, which shouldn't have been needed in the first place. The same was true for the Valkyrie assault rifle, for example. While the game offers plenty of customization options, a more streamlined system would have greatly improved the overall experience. The density of enemies on maps was another sticking point. Clearing an area felt pointless when enemies respawned almost immediately. It's like the game wanted me to spend my entire life grinding. Speaking of time sinks, the filler quests padded the game unnecessarily. My completionist run clocked in at a staggering 230 plus hours, which left me feeling exhausted rather than accomplished. So a good advice on this spot would be for any new player: if you want to enjoy the game with a good pacing and without unnecessary errands that yield no real or valuable rewards, focus only on the main missions and the companion's loyalty quests. You'll have a much more compact experience than what I had with my completionist playthrough. You can still go back to the vast majority of these side tasks and missions after completing the game, so you don't have to waste your time before the finale. On the saving system, I had issues early on with the lack of manual saving during main missions. While the autosave function worked well, it made going back to a specific spot in the game frustrating. Manual saves would have been a better option for precise control, although those are only possible if you are not within a main mission. The addition of jump jets was one of the greatest positives in this game into the Mass Effect universe. I had plenty of fun using it, even though I was mainly using it as a means to travel up or down elevated areas and less so in combat, but the options this has added were awesome for the players who had a lot of fun with it. Another positive side is the option to allocate points in the skill tree to whichever type of skills you like, whether it's tech, biotics or combat skills, and you're not limited to stages within your class. I was very happy with this and made the best use of the skills that gave me the biggest defensive boost, because honestly, the shields and barriers on Ryder in this game are laughably insufficient on their own. The ending lacks any major choices that would create significantly different outcomes, which left me with a sense of mediocrity. It wasn't entirely anticlimactic, but it also failed to deliver the impactful or meaningful decisions that could have set the stage for a compelling sequel, unlike the original trilogy. The Pathfinder ship, the Tempest, felt a lot like the Normandy, although with a different layout, but it felt more compact due to Ryder not having to use the elevator within the ship between different areas, which saved some time, and I like the layout actually more than the Normandies. The game was developed with the Frostbite engine, which is known to be very hard to mod. The mods within the Frosty Mod Manager often clash with both Steam and the EA app. Neither is Frostbite any good for the facial animations, which was one of the major critique points when the game released. They are partially fixable via the mentioned mods, but again, you're running into issues with the mods clashing with EA. I've also made a separate vid on how to install the mods before I've played the game, because there are many factors you need to keep in mind before you start modding. The modding guide is available on my channel and I'm linking it here now in case you're interested. There's also an additional vid for the mods I've used in my playthrough and for Sarah Ryder's looks. The game truly shines in its presentation, with the major worlds you can explore being both vast and distinctly unique from one another. The environments are stunning, from the desert vistas of Eladen to the icy hell of World, as I nicknamed it. After installing some of the mods, the game's graphics went from impressive to breathtaking. The soundtrack captures the essence of Mass Effect, but it doesn't really quite reach the heights of the original trilogy's unforgettable scores. It does the job, with energetic tracks for combat and soothing ambient pieces for exploration, but it doesn't leave a lasting impression. Composed by John Paesano, known for his work on Daredevil and the Maze Runner series, the music is skillfully crafted but lacks the same emotional impact as the original iconic soundtracks. Surprisingly, the only track that I really remember after playing the game for so many hours is the one you hear when you open the main menu. Let's talk about the little quirks. One fun moment was gathering hops for the bar on the Nexus. In return, you got to taste new drinks with crazy names like Dirty Squirrel, Tall Moose, or Rotten Scoundrel. Visiting the bar for these quirky moments was hilarious, although I wish there had been more drinks to discover. The saving system is simple and reliable, mostly automatic, but the fast travel system felt awkward, especially with the frequent and dense enemy respawns. The inventory management was another frustration, particularly due to the limited mod slots available for weapons and armor. And while climbing allowed for some breathtaking views, it's not really suited for players who have a fear of heights. What felt especially odd for me in the game was that we've traveled millions of light years away to a completely different galaxy and only meet 2 new alien species, if I don't count the remnant bots. That's quite strange for a game that can take you as long as 200 plus hours with all the side content. To make matters worse, only one of these new species, the Angara, actually can join your crew, and the other one is your enemy. Compared to the original trilogy, which featured a wide array of background races like the Elcor, the Drell, Vorcha or Batarians, the Helios cluster in the Andromeda galaxy feels strangely devoid of intelligent life, making it seem less vibrant and diverse than the previous games. While the dialogue wheel offers various ways how to answer, it's only related to Ryder's personality, as in being snarky or logical or professional, but in general the answer is the same. I was definitely missing the Paragon Renegade options from the original trilogy here. Another recurring feature in the game is the remnant monoliths, which needed to be activated to make a planet habitable for colonists. Every time you encounter one, you can expect a puzzle to solve. However, these puzzles don't really challenge you to think creatively. Instead, Mass Effect Andromeda relies on familiar mechanics like Sudoku and simple number sequences. Don't get me wrong, I like Sudoku and I was looking forward to these minigames, but I would have liked them to be a little bit more challenging or innovative and the puzzles to be a bit more complex. Even though it might not be so desirable to put more working hours into creating this type of extra side content, I'd have loved to see the puzzles vary a bit between the vaults, and not just in the placement of the consoles or the order in which they have to be activated. I've encountered a few bugs here and there, but nothing really serious that couldn't be fixed with a restart and a replay from the last save, which are thankfully frequent enough, so I didn't have the feeling that they had any bigger impact on my playthrough experience. In summary, Mass Effect Andromeda is a game of contrasts. It excels in visuals and world building, but falters in execution. While the combat is fun, the lack of strategic depth and overly dense maps weigh down. The story teases grand ideas, but often stumbles in delivering them. Despite its flaws, I did enjoy the game, thanks in parts to mods that smoothed over some of the rough edges. For me, it's a solid 7 or 7.5 out of 10. And if you're a fan of the franchise, it's worth playing, but go in with tempered expectations and don't expect the same quality of the story or writing as the original trilogy had. Nevertheless, it's still enjoyable for the most part. Overall, I am inclined to agree with the critics that said it might have been better not to call the game Mass Effect, and if it would be delivered as a standalone game, it might have done better. I'm also sure my rating would be much different if I'd have bought and played the game when it originally released, with all the flaws and deficiencies that gamers were pointing out back then. But thankfully the game has been patched a lot in the meantime and also has so many mods available that by using those you get a very improved experience, and that is what in the end affected my rating mostly. There are no DLCs for Andromeda, which on one hand is a shame. There was an interesting hint at the fate of the Quarian arc by the end of the game. On the other hand, the basic game in itself has so much content that I didn't really miss a DLC for this game. In terms of pricing, the game is currently available during the winter sale on Steam with a staggering discount of 90% for just €3.99 and 2 multiplayer packs for under €10, which is an insane price decrease. So in case you haven't played the game yet and you would like to try it, now is the best time to grab a copy. If you like this review, please don't forget to hit that like button below, and most importantly, let me know in the comment section below what you think about the game, if you have already played it. What you thought about the story and the companions overall. Did you have any bugs, or what was the positive and the negative side for you on the game? It would be really interesting for me to hear your thoughts. Thank you very much already in advance, and also thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned and game on!